The front door creaked as David pushed it open, the weight of his suitcase dragging his shoulders down. He'd been gone 3 weeks, chasing a promotion across the country, but the silence of the house hit him like a fist. No laughter, no clatter of dishes, only a single sheet of paper on the kitchen counter, its edges curled, waiting to unravel his world. David, 42, a widower and father, had built his life around routine, work, provide, protect. His daughter, Lily, 16, was his anchor, her bright smile a tether to the life he'd rebuilt after his wife's death 5 years ago. But the note in her jagged handwriting, "Dad, I'm sorry, but I can't stay. I'm not who you think I am. Don't look for me," shattered that illusion. His knees buckled, and he gripped the counter, the words blurring as his pulse thundered. The house, a modest 2-story in suburban Portland, Oregon, felt like a trap. Every lock was bolted, every window sealed, as if Lily had planned her escape with surgical precision. David's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "I'm safe. I need time." His fingers trembled as he dialed her number, but it went straight to voicemail. He sank onto the couch, the note still in his hand, and tried to piece together the last few months. Lily had been quieter. Her usual spark dimmed. She'd stopped talking about school, her friends, her dreams of studying art. He'd chalked it up to teenage moods. But now the truth gnawed at him. He'd missed something vital. The house, once a haven, now mocked him with its stillness. David's eyes landed on a photo on the mantel. Lily at 10, grinning with paint smudged on her cheeks. He remembered her laughter, how she'd begged him to hang her drawings on the fridge. When had that stopped? He stood, resolve hardening, and began searching her room for clues. Her closet was half empty, her sketchbook gone. But under her bed, he found a small journal, its pages filled with words he wasn't ready to read. The journal's first entry, dated 6 months ago, was a confession. "I'm not Lily. Not really. I'm Liam." David's breath caught. His daughter, his little girl, was questioning her identity, and he hadn't seen it. The words spilled out, raw and unguarded. "I'm scared to tell Dad. He won't understand. He'll hate me." David's chest tightened. Hate her? He loved her more than life itself. He spent the night reading, each page a window into Liam's struggle, his fear of rejection, his longing to be seen. David's guilt grew with every word. He'd been so focused on providing, on keeping their lives stable, that he'd missed the storm brewing in his child's heart. By dawn, he was exhausted but determined. He wouldn't lose Liam, not to fear or misunderstanding. David called his sister, Emma, a therapist in Seattle, and poured out the story. "I don't know how to fix this," he admitted, voice breaking. Emma's voice was steady but kind. "You don't fix Liam, David. You listen. You learn. Start there." She promised to come down the next day, but David couldn't wait. He needed answers now. He scoured Liam's journal for hints of where he might have gone. One entry mentioned a community center downtown, a place for queer youth. David grabbed his keys, the note still tucked in his pocket, and drove into the city, his heart pounding with hope and dread. The center was a small, colorful building, its walls covered in murals. Inside, a group of teens laughed and talked, their energy a stark contrast to the weight in David's chest. A counselor, a woman in her 30s with a warm smile, approached him. "Can I help you?" she asked. David hesitated, then showed her the note. "My daughter, me child left this. I think they're here." The counselor's eyes softened. "Let's talk," she said, leading him to a quiet room. She explained the center's role, a safe space for kids like Liam, who was transgender and navigating a world that didn't always understand. David listened, his mind racing. He'd never thought about gender this way. Never had to. But for Liam, it was everything. The counselor didn't know where Liam was, but promised to reach out to the community. "They're scared," she said. "Give them time, but show them you're here." David drove home, the note now a lifeline. He wouldn't stop searching, but he knew brute force wouldn't work. He had to earn Liam's trust, to show he could be the father his child needed. As night fell, he sat at the kitchen table, pen in hand, and began writing a letter one he hoped Liam would read someday. David's letter began with words he'd never said aloud. "I'm sorry I didn't see you." His pen shook as he wrote, the kitchen clock ticking too loudly in the empty house. He poured his heart onto the page, promising Liam he'd try to understand. That love would always come first. The next morning, Emma arrived, her presence a steadying force. She read the journal with him, pausing at entries where Liam described feeling trapped in a body that didn't fit. "This isn't about you failing," Emma said, her voice firm. "It's about Liam finding who they are." David nodded, but the guilt lingered like a bruise. They visited the community center again, this time with Emma's guidance. The counselor, Sarah, shared stories of other kids like Liam, explaining how fear often drove them to run. "They're not rejecting you," Sarah said. "They're protecting themselves." David clung to that, but the ache of Liam's absence grew sharper. He started leaving voicemails. Soft and careful. "I read your journal. Liam. I'm here. I love you." No response came, but he kept trying, each message a plea into the void. Emma suggested posting flyers, so they designed one with Liam's photo and a simple message: "Come home. We'll figure this out together." They plastered them around Portland, from coffee shops to bus stops, each one a small act of hope. Days passed without a lead, and David's resolve wavered. He'd always been the fixer, bills paid, roof repaired, life in order. But this, he couldn't fix Liam's pain, only share it. At night, he sat in Liam's room, sketching pencils scattered across the desk, and wondered where his child was sleeping. A breakthrough came on the 5th day. A barista at a local cafe recognized Liam's photo. "They were here yesterday," she said, pointing to a corner table. "With another kid, maybe 17, short hair, lots of earrings." David's heart leapt. He thanked her and left his number, begging her to call if Liam returned. That night, Emma pushed him to talk about his own fears. "What scares you most?" she asked. David stared at the floor. "That Liam thinks I won't love them anymore." Saying it aloud broke something in him, and he cried for the first time since his wife's funeral. Emma held his hand, silent but present. The next morning, Sarah called. A teen matching the barista's description had come to the center, asking about Liam. "They wouldn't say much," Sarah warned, "but they're willing to meet." David and Emma arrived within the hour, nerves fraying. The teen, Alex, was guarded, their eyes scanning David like a threat. "Liam's okay," Alex said finally. "They're staying with friends, figuring things out." David's relief was cut by frustration. "Why won't they talk to me?" he asked. Alex shrugged. "They're scared you'll make them be Lily again." The words landed like a punch. David promised he wouldn't, that he just wanted Liam safe. Alex studied him, then nodded. "I'll pass it along." David left the center with a fragile hope. He and Emma kept searching, following every tip. They visited shelters, parks, anywhere Liam might be. Each dead end hurt, but David clung to the journal, rereading Liam's words to understand his child's heart. One entry stood out: "I want to be free. But I miss Dad. It gave him strength to keep going. Back home, David taped Liam's drawings to the fridge again, a small gesture to show he was listening. He wrote another letter, leaving it on Liam's bed. I see you, Liam. I'm learning. Come home when you're ready. He didn't know if it would matter, but it was all he could do. As the week ended, a storm rolled into Portland, rain battering the house. David sat by the window, watching the street, willing Liam to appear. The phone rang, and his heart stopped at an unknown number. Dad. Liam's voice, small and hesitant, came through. David gripped the phone, tears falling. I'm here, he said. I'm right here. Liam's voice trembled, a fragile thread across the line. I didn't want to hurt you, Dad. David clutched the phone, afraid to breathe, afraid the call would end. Where are you? He asked, keeping his voice steady. Liam hesitated. Somewhere safe. I needed to hear you. David's chest ached with relief and fear. He wanted to demand answers, to drive wherever Liam was. But Emma's advice echoed, listen. Don't push. I read your journal, David said softly. I'm trying to understand. Liam. I want to. Silence stretched. Then Liam whispered, You don't hate me. The question broke David's heart. Never, he said. You're my kid. Always. Liam didn't say where they were, but they promised to call again. David hung up, exhausted but hopeful. Emma, sitting nearby, squeezed his shoulder. That's a start, she said. Keep the door open. David nodded, but the waiting felt like drowning. He threw himself into learning. Sarah gave him books on transgender identity, and he spent nights reading, underlining passages about acceptance and love. He joined an online support group for parents, their stories mirroring his own fear, confusion, but above all, love. He wasn't alone, and that gave him strength. The flyers yielded more tips. A librarian saw Liam at a bookstore, browsing graphic novels. A bus driver remembered them heading downtown. David followed each lead, Emma at his side, but Liam remained elusive. Still, David felt closer, as if the city itself was guiding him to his child. One evening, Alex texted from the community center, Liam wants to meet. Neutral ground. Tomorrow. David barely slept, his mind racing with what he'd say. He practiced in the mirror, stumbling over words like transgender and identity, wanting to get it right. He didn't want to lose Liam again. The meeting was set at a small park, its benches damp from recent rain. David arrived early, his hands stuffed in his jacket, scanning every face. Liam appeared, wearing a hoodie and jeans, their hair shorter than David remembered. Alex stood nearby, a quiet sentinel. Liam, David started, but the words caught in his throat. Liam's eyes, so like their mother's, held a mix of fear and hope. I'm sorry I ran, they said. I didn't know how to tell you. David stepped closer, careful not to crowd. You don't have to apologize. I'm the one who missed it. They sat on a bench, the distance between them heavy. Liam spoke haltingly, explaining how they'd known for years they weren't Lily. I tried to be her, they said, voice cracking. For you. But it hurt too much. David listened, his heart twisting. He'd wanted to protect Liam, but he'd built a cage instead. I'm learning, David said. I don't have all the answers, but I want to be there for you. For you, Liam. Liam's eyes welled up, and for the first time in weeks, they hugged. It was brief, tentative, but it felt like a lifeline. Alex drove Liam back to their friend's place, but not before Liam promised to come home soon. David watched them go, the park's quiet settling around him. He felt raw, exposed, but hopeful. He'd seen his child, and they'd seen him trying. Back home, David kept Liam's room ready, the letter still on the bed. He called Sarah, thanking her for her help, and joined a local support group for parents of trans kids. Each story he heard chipped away at his fear, replacing it with understanding. He wasn't perfect, but he was moving forward. That night, he dreamed of his wife, her smile warm and forgiving. "You're doing good, David," she said. He woke with tears on his cheeks, but for the first time, they weren't from grief. They were from hope. Liam came home 3 days later, backpack slung over their shoulder, eyes wary but open. David stood in the doorway, fighting the urge to pull them into a hug. "Welcome back," he said, voice thick. Liam nodded, stepping inside, their gaze flickering over the familiar walls. The house felt different now, charged with unspoken questions. David had spent the last days preparing, clearing out old clothes Liam no longer wore, researching therapists who specialized in gender identity. He wanted Liam to feel safe, not pressured. But the tension lingered, a fragile thread between them. They sat at the kitchen table, Liam picking at a plate of cookies David had baked, a clumsy attempt at normalcy. "I didn't know you could bake," Liam said, a faint smile breaking through. David laughed, relieved. "I'm learning a lot lately." It was a small moment, but it felt like progress. Over the next week, they navigated their new reality. Liam explained their pronounce the /them for now, and David practiced, stumbling but earnest. He caught himself saying Lily once, and the flinch in Liam's eyes cut deep. "I'm sorry," he said quickly. Liam shrugged, but their voice was soft. "It's okay. It takes time." David enrolled in a workshop at the community center, led by parents and trans adults. He listened to their stories, each one a lesson in love and resilience. One speaker, a trans man in his 20s, talked about his own father's journey from rejection to acceptance. He didn't get it at first, the man said, but he showed up. That's what mattered. David took it to heart, vowing to show up for Liam. At home, Liam started opening up. They showed David their new sketches, bold lines and vibrant colors reflecting their inner world. One drawing a figure standing between two mirrors, one reflecting a girl, the other a boy, made David's throat tighten. "That's you?" he asked. Liam nodded. "It's how I feel sometimes. Stuck in the middle." David suggested therapy, not to fix Liam, but to help them both navigate. Liam agreed, and they found a counselor, Dr. Rivera, who specialized in gender identity. Their first session was awkward, David fumbling with questions, but Dr. Rivera's calm presence eased the tension. "This is a journey," she said. "You're both here. That's a strong start." Outside therapy, David and Liam rebuilt their bond slowly. They watched old movies, Liam teasing David's taste in 80s action flicks. They cooked together, Liam teaching David how to make stir-fry. These moments, small and ordinary, felt like victories. But David knew the world outside their home wasn't always kind. One afternoon, Liam came home from school, their face pale. A group of kids had cornered them, throwing slurs. David's fists clenched, but Liam shook their head. "I handled it," they said, voice steady but eyes wet. David pulled them into a hug, whispering, "I'm so proud of you." Later, he called the school, demanding action, his voice firm but controlled. Emma visited often, her warmth a bridge between father and child. She brought Liam art supplies, sparking late-night drawing sessions. One night, Liam showed David a portrait they'd drawn of their mother. "I think she'd be okay with me," Liam said quietly. David nodded. His voice choked. "She'd be proud of you, too." As weeks passed, David noticed Liam's confidence growing. They wore a binder, their posture straighter, their smile brighter. David still worried about the world, about Liam's safety, but he saw their strength, and it gave him courage. They were in this together, step by step. The first big test came at a family barbecue, hosted by David's cousin, Mark. David hesitated to bring Liam, knowing Mark's conservative views, but Liam insisted. "I can't hide forever," they said, their jaw set. David admired their courage but braced for trouble. The backyard was loud with music and chatter, relatives milling around with plates of ribs and coleslaw. Liam wore a flannel shirt and jeans, their hair neatly trimmed. David stayed close, watching for any sign of discomfort. Most of the family was warm, asking Liam about school and art, but Mark's sidelong glances set David on edge. Halfway through, Mark pulled David aside. "So, Lily's going by Liam now." His tone was sharp, skeptical. David's stomach twisted, but he kept his voice even. "Yeah. They're my kid, and I support them." Mark scoffed. "You're enabling this nonsense." David's temper flared, but Liam's voice cut through. "It's not nonsense, Uncle Mark. It's who I am." The yard went quiet, all eyes on Liam. They stood tall, unflinching. "I'm transgender. If you can't handle that, it's your problem." David's heart swelled with pride, but Mark's face reddened. "This is a family event," he snapped. "Keep your politics out of it." David stepped forward, his voice low but firm. "Liam's not politics. They're my family. If you can't respect that, we're done here." They left early, the car ride silent but charged. Liam stared out the window, then said, "Thanks for having my back." David reached over, squeezing their hand. "Always." At home, they ordered pizza and watched a comedy, laughter easing the day's tension. School remained a battleground. Liam faced whispers and stares, but they found Aliisa queer student group, a supportive art teacher. David met with the principal, pushing for inclusivity training. Change was slow, but Liam's resilience inspired him. They were carving their own path, and David was learning to follow. Dr. Rivera's sessions grew deeper. Liam talked about their dysphoria, the ache of a body that didn't match their soul. David shared his fears losing Liam, failing them. "You're both grieving the old story," Dr. Rivera said. "But you're writing a new one together." David clung to that, seeing Liam's growth as proof. One evening, Liam showed David a letter they'd written to their mother, tucked into their journal. "Mom, I'm Liam now. I wish you could see me." David read it, tears falling. "She sees you," he said. "She's with us." Liam hugged him, the first unprompted embrace since they'd returned. David started volunteering at the community center, helping other parents navigate their kids' transitions. He saw his own journey in their eyes: fear, love, hope. Liam joined him sometimes, sharing their art with younger kids. Their bond, once fractured, was mending, built on trust and effort. But challenges lingered. Liam wanted to start hormone therapy, a step David wasn't ready for. They argued, Liam's frustration spilling over. "You said you'd support me," they shouted. David took a breath, remembering Dr. Rivera's words, "Listen first." "I do," he said. "I'm just scared. Let's talk to the doctor together." Liam softened, nodding. They made an appointment with an endocrinologist, and David read everything he could about hormone therapy. The risks worried him, but Liam's certainty grounded him. "This is what I need," they said. David saw the truth in their eyes and chose to trust them. As summer approached, Liam painted a mural on their bedroom wall, a vibrant cityscape, full of life. David watched, marveling at their talent. "You're incredible," he said. Liam grinned. "You're not so bad yourself, Dad." It was a moment of peace, a promise of more to come. Summer brought a fragile calm, but the world outside their home remained unpredictable. Liam's confidence grew, but so did the scrutiny they faced. At a local art fair, their booth filled with bold, colorful sketches drew a crowd. Most were kind, but one man, older and stern, muttered, "This is what's wrong with kids today." Liam froze, but David stepped in, voice calm but firm. "My kids' art is what's right with the world." The man walked away, and Liam's grateful glance said everything. David noticed Liam's friends rallying around them. Alex, now a regular at the house, brought a fierce loyalty, while others from the queer student group filled the living room with laughter. David cooked for them, learning their stories, their struggles. He saw Liam's strength reflected in their chosen family, and it eased his fears. But the hormone therapy decision loomed. The endocrinologist, Dr. Chun, was patient, explaining the process, testosterone, gradual changes, risks, and benefits. Liam listened intently, their eyes bright with hope. David asked questions, his voice steady despite his nerves. "Will it make them happy?" he asked. Dr. Chun smiled. "It can help them feel more at home in their body." Liam wanted to start immediately, but David asked for time. They argued again, Liam's frustration raw. "You don't get how much this matters," they shouted. David took a breath, fighting his instinct to control. "I'm trying, Liam. I just want to be sure." They compromised, more research, more talks with Dr. Rivera. In therapy, Liam opened up about their dreams to study art in college, to live authentically. David shared his own dream, to see Liam happy, safe, loved. Dr. Rivera guided them through the hormone discussion, helping David see it as Liam's choice, not his. "You're not losing them," she said. "You're helping them become who they are." David spent nights reading medical studies, talking to other parents. The community center's support group became his lifeline, their stories normalizing what once felt overwhelming. One father, whose son had transitioned years ago, said, "It's scary, but watching them thrive. Worth it." David held on to that. Liam's 17th birthday arrived, a milestone David feared they'd miss together. He planned a small party, inviting Alex and Liam's friends. The backyard glowed with string lights, music playing softly. Liam's smile, wide and unguarded, was a gift. They blew out candles, surrounded by love, and David felt the weight of the past months lift. Later, Liam pulled David aside. "I know you're scared about hormones," they said, "but I need you to trust me." David looked into their eyes, seeing the child he'd raised and the person they were becoming. "I do," he said. They hugged, the moment sealing their pact. The next week, Liam started testosterone. David drove them to the clinic, his heart a mix of fear and pride. Liam's hand shook as they signed the forms, but their smile was radiant. "This is it, Dad," they said. David nodded, squeezing their shoulder. "I'm with you." At home, Liam painted more, their art evolving with their confidence. David framed one Paisea self-portrait, vibrant and bold for the living room. You're leaving a mark, he said. Liam laughed. So are you, Dad. But the world wasn't done testing them. A letter from the school board arrived, questioning the inclusivity training David had pushed for. He fought back, attending meetings, rallying parents. Liam joined him, their voice strong despite their nerves. Together, they were unstoppable, a father and child rewriting their story. Fall arrived, and with it, a new rhythm. Liam's voice deepened slightly, a subtle shift from the testosterone. They stood taller, their laughter freer. David watched, amazed at their transformation, but the world's challenges didn't vanish. At a school board meeting, a parent called Liam's identity a phase, and David's restraint nearly broke. Liam, though, spoke up, calm but firm. This is me. It's not up for debate. The room fell silent, and David's pride surged. They faced smaller battles, too. A neighbor stared too long. A teacher misgendered Liam. Each sting hurt, but Liam's resilience grew, and David learned to follow their lead. I don't need you to fight for me, Liam said one night. Just be there. David nodded, understanding his role was to support, not control. Liam's art flourished, earning them a spot in a local gallery show. David helped set up, carrying canvases, watching Liam shine as they explained their work. One paisea figure breaking free from chains, painted in vivid blues and golds drew gasps. A buyer offered $500, but Liam refused. It's for us, they said, glancing at David. He understood it was their story, captured in color. Dr. Rivera's sessions continued, a space for honesty. Liam talked about their future, their fears of college applications, of a world that might not accept them. David admitted his own fear of not being enough. You're enough, Liam said, their voice steady. You're here. Those words carried David through sleepless nights. Emma moved closer, taking a job in Portland to be near them. Her presence grounded David, and she became Liam's confidant, too. They spent weekends together, laughing over board games, rebuilding family. One night, Liam showed Emma a sketch of their mother, reimagined as an angel watching over them. She'd love you, Emma said, tears in her eyes. The community center became a second home. David led a workshop for parents, sharing his journey with raw honesty. Liam joined sometimes, their art inspiring others. One kid, a shy 14-year-old, told Liam, "You make me feel like I can be me." Liam's smile lit up the room, and David saw his child's impact ripple outward. But not every moment was triumphant. Liam had bad days, dysphoria hitting hard. David learned to listen, to sit in silence when words failed. One night, Liam sobbed, "What if I'm never enough?" David held them, whispering, "You're more than enough. You're Liam." It wasn't a fix, but it was truth. They faced a legal hurdle next, changing Liam's name and gender marker. The process was daunting forms, court dates, fees. David navigated it, his determination fierce. At the hearing, Liam stood before the judge, voice clear. "My name is Liam. It's who I am." The judge approved, and David cheered, embarrassing Liam with his enthusiasm. At home, they celebrated with takeout and music, Liam's new ID a symbol of victory. David raised a glass of soda. "To Liam," he said. Liam grinned. "To us." The moment felt sacred, a promise kept. As winter loomed, Liam applied to art schools, their portfolio a testament to their journey. David wrote recommendation letters, his pride spilling onto the page. He saw Liam's future unfolding, bright and bold, and knew he'd be there, Every step, their bond, tested by pain, was stronger for it. Winter blanketed Portland, but the house glowed with warmth. Liam's art covered the walls, each piece a chapter of their journey. David looked at them now, not as a father clinging to the past, but as one embracing the present. Liam's acceptance to an art school in Seattle came on a snowy morning. They screamed, waving the letter, and David hugged them, laughter mixing with tears. "You did it," he said. Liam's eyes shone. "We did it." They spent the day planning, dreaming of dorms and new beginnings. David felt a pang his child was growing up, but it was overshadowed by pride. The community center hosted a winter showcase, and Liam's mural was the centerpiece. Friends, family, and strangers gathered, their applause echoing. David watched Liam speak, their voice confident, sharing how art saved them. He saw his wife in their smile, her spirit alive in their courage. But the world still pushed back. A local news story about trans rights sparked hateful comments online, some aimed at Liam. David wanted to shield them, but Liam faced it head-on, posting their art with a caption, "I'm here. I'm enough." David retweeted it, adding, "My kid's a hero." The support poured in, drowning out the hate. Dr. Rivera's sessions wound down, their work together complete for now. "You've built something strong," she told them. Liam nodded, squeezing David's hand. "We're a team." David smiled, knowing it was true. They'd faced fear, loss, and change, and come out stronger. Emma threw a going-away party before Liam's move to Seattle. The backyard was packed. Alex, the queer student group, even Sarah from the community center. Liam's laughter rang out, their joy infectious. David gave a toast, his voice cracking. "To Liam, who taught me what love really means." The crowd cheered, and Liam hugged him, whispering, "You taught me, too." The day Liam left, David drove them to the bus station. The air was crisp, the sky clear. Liam's backpack was stuffed with art supplies, their new ID tucked safely inside. "I'll call every day," Liam promised. David laughed. "You better." They hugged, long and tight, no words needed. Back home, the house felt empty but not hollow. David sat at the kitchen table, Liam's note from months ago in his hand. He'd kept it, a reminder of how far they'd come. He opened a new journal, one he'd bought to write his own story, and began, "I thought I'd lost my kid, but I found the man myself." Months later, Liam visited for spring break, their energy brighter than ever. They showed David their latest projecta mural of a family, diverse and vibrant, painted with love. "This is us," Liam said, pointing to two figures holding hands. David's eyes stung, but he smiled. "It's perfect." The story didn't end there. David kept volunteering, helping other families navigate their journeys. Liam thrived in Seattle, their art gaining recognition. They called often, sharing stories of classes, friends, and dreams. Each call was a thread, weaving their bond tighter. The note that once locked David in his own house was now a symbol of freedom, of Liam's truth, of their shared courage. They'd faced the unknown together, not with perfection, but with love. And that, David knew, was enough.